The kitchen, of course, was the center, was the hub. Everything ever took place here. Front room was only for guests and company. You didn't go in there other than you had company. So the front room would have been the best room possibly. And the two portraits you see are the Wilkies. Those are the people whose farmsteaded. And the pictures right here will show you their 5 children that they had that lived in this house. So basically there were 7 people living in this small 2-bedroom home. 1 bedroom for the parents and the other one for everybody else. Later on, they added this little bitty addition of a room, which would enclose the stairway. Originally, this stairway would have come down to here. So you can imagine how steep that was and how narrow. And like I said, in the wintertime, once you went up, you probably didn't come back down because you were going outside before this addition was built. Do you want to go upstairs?
That should be wonderful.
Okay, let's do that. Be careful, it's narrow and steep. This would have been the children's bedroom. The younger ones would have slept here. And
Probably
then
shared some beds.
they would have shared beds. Okay, obviously, yes. And this would have been the parents' room. This particular cradle was given to us by John Cornelson. They had 19 children. It's like they had 19 brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
14 of them used that cradle.
And
So
that
that's
was more typical to have
pretty
several
typical.
children
Yes.
because
You had to have children because if you farmed, you needed help. And so that they gave you some help for farming.
so you guys are really just, your parents had you just for labor. Clean the house, do the farming, do the chores.
Religion was very important. Very important. This is the Wilkie Family Bible. It's a German Bible dated 1874. And then we have, wedding certificates and baptism certificates from the Wilkies we have on the wall.
And the indoor plumbing,
Oh, yes, I have to ask you. The indoor plumbing is right there. Now, I usually ask people,
Tilt it down a little bit.
why the crocheted lid?
So why do you think the crocheted lid? You get what they mean by indoor plumbing?
That's the bathroom,
That's where you would go to the
inside bathroom. You had to get up at night, that's what you did. You took the lid off, you did your business, put the lid back on, keep the odor down. But why the crocheted lid? Remember, there was no electricity, it was dark, pitch dark. You kind of knew where it was, but when you went to put the lid back on, you might miss and make a lot of noise and wake people up. So the crocheted lid muffled the sound of the lid.
you didn't want all those kids awake in here screaming and hollering.
You're all in here together, you didn't go to your own room.
In the colder
Chamber pot.
winter, that was a mighty important thing.
That was very important. And then one of your job would have been to take that out in the morning.
Wash it
and
out
dump
and
it.
start over, yeah.
Aren't you thankful for the advancements of society?
We live better, don't we?
So if you're ever reading a book that talks about chamber pots,
That's a chamber pot, yes.
That's a
That is
chamber
a chamber pot.
okay?
Any questions about the house? There's a lot of things in here I could talk about, but you're probably not interested in it.
Anything you want to share, we love to have.
Well, when we get to the museum, one of the first early businessmen was Christian Ashman. He was a wheelwright. He built furniture. He built wagons. He built household utilities. He did a lot of things. He built this bed. This is one of the things he built. This bed was built about 1896. Handcraft. Everything was by hand.
Did he chisel that out by hand?
He did that by hand. Everything was by hand.
Decorations and the exact for math and symmetry archery and
He
precision.
was quite a craftsman. Quite a craftsman. Robin CS, what is hat gesagt? They spoke German, you know, when they came over.
How many of you guys have German-speaking families?
How many have a German background?
I
You
know I
probably all
do.
I know
Same,
some.
same,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
You know what I mean? Sure.
Even though I grew up in northwest Kansas, my grandma was from around this area.
Oh, she was, what was her name?
Mabel, smiling now, I'll think of it.
Okay.
I always forget it, they don't talk about it. I didn't actually know that about her till after I moved here.
Okay.
And so I've learned more things
I
there.
have to ask you a question. You know, during the Second World War, we fought Germany and we had to fight Japan, right? And unfortunately, the Japanese that were living in this country, which were citizens, were all put in little internment camps. They fenced them in for fear that some would be spies. But we never did that to the Germans. Why not?
How do you tell a German from a?
It's easy to tell apart. Well, 40% of this country was German descent. You'd about emptied the country if you did that. And most of our soldiers were German descent. Yeah.
Do we face similar questions of that today?
Ah,
Unfortunately.
Yeah, we do. It seems to recycle. You know, history recycles, just like education. A new idea in education is not new. It's just recycled with a new name and a little twist.
Yep, there we go. And they kind of realize that we've been studying our ancient civs, so like the
Yeah.
pattern's starting to form.
What was that?
What's that? Right there. Was it ours?
Oh, it's right there. I think.
That came from here?
That's
I don't
interesting.
know what it is.
How does that come from? That's not yours, is it?
No, it shouldn't be. No, because that didn't have.
It's not from the house, because it's plastic.
So, maybe. It might be off of that. If I thought it was off.
yeah.
Say, it might be off of that.
Question for the girls, if you grew up during this time period, you'd have 3 ways to hang your wet clothing to dry. You can hang them inside by this nifty little thing. Which is dated 1887. Or you could screw this or nail this onto a wall, pull out the string and hang the string on one side of the wall, and this would be on the other side of the wall, and you'd have a clothesline. That would be there. Or you could go outside and hang them on a wire that you see lots of times on posts.